Look, I'm not going to pretend to be perfect, but if I were an NFL announcer, I would just never, ever, ever, ever use this combination of words.
And then finds an escort from minors.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that.
And then finds an escort from minors.
Escort and nope.
Kick is good with no time left.
The Broncos did it. They finally did it. They won a game in which they were not trailing at any point. They've won 11, of course. That might seem like a pretty straightforward thing for a team that's now 11-2 with a 20-point win over the Cowboys and a 25-point win over the Bengals, but winning games the easy way has been the most difficult thing for the Broncos this season. Almost as difficult as it is for Troy Franklin to catch a football. This game was not a blowout, but it was exactly what Broncos fans needed after a string of nail-biters and an avalanche of shit-talkers and fraud alertists on the internet all week. And do not let the final score fool you. That shit does not matter other than to the people who look at the spread and the people that will use the 7-point game to advance their narrative that the Broncos played a close game against the Raiders again. It was not close. The Broncos were up 24-7 in the final 5 minutes of the game. They played too soft on defense, letting the Raiders collect key garbage time yards and points. Then the Raiders bizarrely kicked a field goal after a delay-of-game penalty kept the clock from hitting 0. Normally, I'd say there's no wrong time to dry hump Tyler Lockett, but Brandon Jones showed us the exact wrong time to dry hump Tyler Lockett. And it's going to get lost in the football universe, which has seen thousands and thousands of unique finishes to the game. But I do not think I have ever seen a team kick a game-ending field goal as that game-ending field goal allowed them to lose by 7.
Kick is good with no time left.
I'm not crazy for thinking that's hilarious, right? Is this the least dramatic kick in NFL history to be made with the clock hitting 0?
Kick is good with no time left.
Now I get that the Raiders thought that maybe they'd get a second left on the clock after the kick, but this is how I want everybody to remember this bizarre situation playing out. The Raiders get ready to kick a field goal as this game's about to end. Daniel Carlson lines up. The snap is off. Carlson sweeps the leg, and the kick is, it's good! It's good! There's no time left, and the Raiders only lose by 7 instead of 10! The Raiders only lose by 7 instead of 10!
With no time left.
Never in all my football years! What a finish to only lose by 7 instead of 10.
With no time left.
They will meet the Giants and Titans and Browns in hell. I mean, at the top of the draft. The top of the draft. Please don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Trying to get to 830,000 subs. Can we do it by tomorrow morning? Maybe. Today's episode also sponsored by Prize Picks and my code TGS. If you want to play in daily fantasy, do it at Prize Picks. They're taking care of this channel all season long. Every 200 signups at Prize Picks is a big bonus here. So use code TGS at Prize Picks, and when you make your first $5 deposit, they're going to give you $50 in lineups. Code TGS, link below. Wait, I don't remember Darth Vader tapping the Rockies with the tall boy in Star Wars. Is this one of those digital changes they did later? If it is, this is a good one. I knew Pete Carroll was getting old, but I had no idea he sounded this old.
What do you need to see in the second half?
You gotta remember, okay, so some people were, they were doing some stuff, and then other people were.
I know a lot of you fake NFL fans wanted to watch a better game that was taking place in Lambeau Field, but the best team in the NFL looked like it. I mean, hell, according to ESPN's Ben Solak, the Broncos were going to lose this game, but they won, they fucking won, and they're in first place. Now, the first half in Vegas didn't look like it contained any signs of a hangover following a late-night East Coast game that went deep into OT. At least on offense. The Broncos methodically went down the field on a 14-play, 81-yard drive that resulted in Bosef Nick's 4th touchdown run of the season. But so did Vegas. Each team marched down the field, and the ball did not touch the ground once in what was roughly a 25-minute first quarter, capped off by a Brock Bowers touchdown, his 3rd in 2 games. The competitiveness of those 2 opening drives was fucking misleading. I heard that the Raiders have lost every game that Brock Bowers scored a touchdown this season. And that sounds interesting at first, until you realize Bowers only has 5 touchdowns and 3 came in 1 game. And then you remember that the Raiders only have 2 wins.
Hey, yeah, they should do, that stuff. It's good that they're doing that stuff. And then the other...
Now, the Broncos defense probably won't break the sack record at this clip, but they did get 4 in this game. They dropped Geno Smith 3 times. They got Pickett once later, but 2 sacks came on the same series and led to the most stimulating play of the game. Special teams was a big problem for the Broncos and the Raiders the last time these 2 teams met, so much so that the Raiders fired their special teams coach. Marvin Mims stayed on his feet. He magic Mimsed it here, and finally, for the first time in his 3-year, 2-time All-Pro career, took a punt back to the house. The first time the Broncos have a punt return for a score since Deontay Spencer in 2020 against Carolina. The story of the Broncos win, though, is in the way that they dominated the time of possession. Denver led 3 scoring drives that lasted over 8 minutes. The first time they've even had 2 8-minute touchdown drives since the year 2000. And that happened because the Broncos, without J.K. Dobbins, ran the ball as well as they have all season. 31 carries for 152 yards. R.J. Harvey had his steadiest game in between the tackles. Jaleel McLaughlin was a nice change of pace back. And the Broncos' secret weapon X, fullback Adam Prentice, ripped off an 18-yarder, the longest run of his career, and he was a stiff arm away from taking that thing all the way. That's the closest to balance you're going to get out of Shawn Peyton. That, combined with the fact that Bo Nix completed 31 to 38 attempts and didn't turn the ball over. He never put the ball in harm's way either. That's a pretty good recipe to go on the road and beat a team you should beat handily. It also helps when you hold the opposing running back, again, the 6th overall pick of the draft, to just 30 yards on 10 carries. On the other side of the coin, Denver's rookie running back R.J. Harvey had 100 yards on 23 total touches and picked up his 9th touchdown on the season. By the way, that's the most of any rookie in the league this year. R.J. Harvey, congratulations, because you have earned the Big Dick Player Award. Sorry, Kenny Pickett, he stole it from your tiny little hands. Kenny Pickett came in for Geno Smith after Geno left the game with a shoulder injury. Pickett technically had the best passing performance in this game. He was 8 for 11, and thank you for respecting America, Kenny, and not throwing one more completion. Specifically, your overthrow in the end zone. He was 8 for 11 for 97 yards, a touchdown, and a passer rating of 129. He also keeps his gloves on while using the tablet on the sideline. Kenny, you wouldn't have to use a stylus if you take those goddamn gloves off. Nobody will ever see my hands, especially not my wife. I'm a never nude, but with my hands. Leave me alone. Anyway, I already know what the naysayers are saying about God bless Bo Nix only having 212 passing yards on 31 completions. Yeah, the Raiders were the first defense dumb enough to let every single one of the Broncos swing passes and checkdowns go for 6 to 8 yards. The Broncos played their most efficient and most boring game of the season, and I fucking loved it. I was never stressed out in this game. I didn't have to take my heart medication today. Denver dominated that time of possession so viciously with their dink and dunk and run offense. It was 39 minutes to 21 minutes. That 18-yard run by the Broncos fullback was the longest play of the game for the entire Broncos offense. The Raiders had 2 plays go for 25 or more yards, but one was a touchdown from Kenny Pickett to Bo Jackson's great-nephew, Shedrick Jackson, who is the first Raider under the age of 24 to score a touchdown this season. I'm not sure why the NFL is zoning in on tracking stats on 24-year-olds. Wait, are they doing advanced analytics for Bill Belichick? He loves 24-year-olds. Is Tom Brady gonna make Bill Belichick his next coaching retread hire for the Raiders?
I'm not talking about this.
I don't think they should be doing that stuff, and then thing.
There were a string of kind of weird decisions by Shawn Peyton in this game. This is my biggest critique, I guess. In a game I really have no complaints about. In one case, though, Shawn Peyton took a delay of game penalty on what would have been a 58-yard field goal attempt and ended up punting. Look, call me crazy, but I think in the year 2025, you should be able to feel comfortable with your kicker trying a 58-yarder indoors. I don't know. They also passed on a 61-yard field goal attempt before halftime and decided on a Hail Mary, one that nearly ended up in the hands of Pat Bryant. They also went for it on 4th down on their last possession rather than kicking a field goal to make it 27-14. It all begs the question, are they saving Will Lutz for the playoffs? No, but in all seriousness, I wonder about some of Peyton's decision-making in those in-between situations, but they've won 10 straight, so it's hard to criticize anything right now. It's really hard. Maybe Peyton's secretly trying to win by 3 or less every week. Maybe we should check Shawn Peyton's Prize Picks account. It was a joke!
And then finds an escort from minors.
The officiating in this game, well, that was great. Denver had too many penalties as usual, but this was such a boring affair. I can't even bitch about the refs, and I fucking hate the refs. Riley Moss in 2 games with blue sleeves has drawn 0 PI penalties. Even Pat Surtain had 2 PIs in this one, the first which was pretty ticky-tacky, but again, I'm so satisfied with this game. Instead of saying fuck the refs, I'll say thank you, refs. May I have another? If you want another bag of fuck the refs coffee, oh damn it. If you want another bag of Fuck the Refs coffee to arrive as a Christmas gift before Christmas, you gotta order now, before December 12th. Otherwise, we cannot ensure that it'll get there on time. At the Refs, benchwarmershop.com. That's my coffee company. So, the Broncos' 2 biggest issues as they prepare for the Packers who just beat the Bears are penalties, and the fact that Troy Franklin continues to insist on dipping his hands, both of them, into a Costco-sized jar of KY jelly before every single snap. Now, I'm rooting for Troy Franklin the person, okay? I really am. But at this point in the season, I have little faith in him to make a routine catch for the Broncos. His drop in this game cost Denver a big first down, and later he bobbled a pass that he caught that ultimately cost Denver a 4th down conversion. So even when he does catch it, somehow it's fucking wrong. He's in a 3-way tie right now with Talanoa Hufanga and Jahdae Barron for worst hands on the team. A race he should not even be in against 2 defenders. They play defense for a reason. At this rate, though, I just can't justify the Broncos taking touches away from their biggest offensive weapon, fullback and king, Adam Prentice. A man whose name I forgot every single week until this week. I remember now, Adam. This win is going to get lost in the shuffle at the end of the season, but here's why it matters right now for the Broncos. The Patriots lost to the Raiders in week 1, which means that Denver has clinched a tiebreaker for seeding if the 2 teams finish the regular season with the same record. And they have the same record right now at 11-2. It's massive. So if Denver gets a bye 6 weeks from now, you can go back to this game and in all likelihood remember, the Raiders make a field goal as time expires to lose by 7 still.
Kick is good with no time left.
May the buzz be with you, Darth and twins. Thanks for watching That's Good Sports. Please subscribe here on YouTube. You gotta subscribe or YouTube.
And then